Ladies and gentlemen, federal employees, welcome. Today is a very interesting day where my answer to this question has changed significantly over the last 12 months. Things have changed so much in the economy, with inflation, with interest rates, that my answer to this question today is going to be very different than what it was 12 months ago. So I got a question from a amazing viewer, listener, whoever you are, right? Wherever you're listening to this, that I'm going to read and then answer with you today. Now, if you're new here, my name is Dallin Hawes. Welcome. It is great to have you on my financial planner for federal employees just like you. There's tons of great resources in the description below, so feel free to check those out, including a place to submit questions just like this fellow federal employee did. So let's dive in. They ask, I'm retiring in 7 months, moving out of New Jersey, and I'm moving to Tennessee. I have other funds besides my TSP, but I want to know if it would be wise to purchase my home with my TSP funds, so this way I am not taxed on my TSP money. Okay, so there is a lot going into this. Let's break it down. So there's a couple misconceptions built right into this question, okay? He made a statement saying, hey, I'm going to move to Tennessee in retirement so that I don't get taxed on my TSP. Let's break this down. What is he talking about? So there's a few things. There are some states that have income tax, and there are some states that don't have income tax, right? And the states that do have income tax, basically you have income, you go work a job, you take money from your TSP, whatever, you pay state taxes, right? You pay state taxes. However, there's some that they just don't tax that way, right? They have property taxes, they have sales taxes, they just don't have sales tax, or not sales tax. They don't have income tax, right? That's not how they produce money. So this federal employee says, hey, look, what they're asking is, hey, look, I'm going to move to Tennessee where there's no income tax. So when I take money out of my TSP, excuse me, so that I don't pay taxes on it. Is that accurate? Well, on the state side, yes, that is accurate. If they don't have an income tax, you're not going to pay taxes on the state side from your TSP distributions. However, whenever you take money from the traditional TSP, that's the pre-tax side of the TSP, you're going to pay federal taxes. It doesn't matter what state you move to, you can't escape that, okay? You have to pay federal taxes. Now, if you're talking about the Roth TSP, whole different story, right? But with the traditional TSP, there is unfortunately zero way to stop the pre-tax nature. Where it comes out, you got to pay taxes on it because you got all the tax deductions along the way. So you got to pay it at the end when it comes out, okay? So that's the first point, is we've got to be clear on what taxes we're paying and what we're not paying, okay? But long story short, let's kind of talk to a different point of this. He's saying, hey, should I use my TSP to fund my home purchase? And this question I get every day, and it's in different forms. For example, he's saying, hey, I'm moving, I need a new house. Should I pay for it with my TSP? Makes sense, right? Some people say, look, in retirement, I don't want to have a mortgage. Can I just pay off my mortgage with my TSP once I retire? Maybe they're not moving, they just want to pay off their mortgage, right? And this is a very interesting question because a year ago, my answer was, don't do it. Heck no, don't do it, right? Because interest rates were so stinking low, people's mortgages were at 3%, 2.5%, or whatever the number was. It was exceptionally low. So first, to take a large sum from your TSP so it couldn't grow anymore, and you generally have to pay, when people take large amounts out of the TSP all at once, that pops them up to a high tax bracket. So there were so many reasons to say, no, don't do it. There were so many reasons, right? Now, situations changed slightly, right? What's one of the factors that have changed? First, interest rates, right? There's no more 3% mortgages out there, right? That's a tough thing to get. It's more like 5, 6, 7, 8, depending on what kind of loan you can get, where you're at, your credit, those sort of things. So the interest rate have changed. It's changed. So getting a mortgage is a less fun option, right? It's a less fun option. Now, sometimes it still makes great sense, right? But it's a less fun option. Now, here's some advice. Even if you run the numbers and you say, look, it does make sense to take money from my TSP, that can be the case. But as a general rule, try to split it up into different tax years as best you can, okay? As best you can. So for example, like I said before, when people take a large sum, let's say you needed $100,000 to pay off your mortgage. Well, maybe you need 130 grand from your TSP to pay taxes on it and then have 100 grand left, right? That may be the case. So let's say you take 130 out. Well, guess what? Your taxable income just went up $130,000. $130,000. So you may be in a very high tax bracket. So if there's anything we can do to split that up, to maybe take some out in, let's say, the end of one tax year and then maybe the next in the other tax year, to break it out over time can be really effective to try to keep your tax bracket down as best as possible. Obviously, you want to look at your own tax bracket to see where you're at, see if you're going to pop up into any other tax brackets. But that's one of the biggest things to think about. What would it cost you to get a mortgage, right? What's the interest rate there? How long do you plan to be there, right? And how much money do you have in the traditional TSP? Those are the big factors to think about. But again, as a general rule, it makes me nervous for people to take a large sum out of their TSP ever, right? Ever. Just because there's a lot of taxes, a lot of ramifications that happen in retirement. There's tons of things you need to think about. So just be careful. Be careful. I'm not saying it's never a good idea, but you just want to be careful. So those are the things to think about. First, understand what taxes you're going to owe on that distribution, whether it's state, federal, or both, right? And what's the best place for those funds? Whether maybe it's like, no, just keep the money in the TSP. Let's get a mortgage for a little bit and maybe pay it over some years, right? You don't have to keep the mortgage forever. Maybe just slowly over 5, 6, 7 years, get it paid off. Or there's lots of different variations depending on the situation, but those are the factors to consider. So I hope that makes sense. If you have any questions, please put in the comments below. I can't get to all of them, but we'll do our best here with the team. We will get to your comments as best we possibly can. I hope that's helpful. Have an incredible rest of your day, federal employees. I'll see you guys next time.